What's poppin' YouTube? JD here, back with yet another video for you guys. It is that time of the month when I give you guys the monthly sneaker resale update. In the last video in this series, I asked you guys to give me like different names to call this segment, but then I thought to myself, why keep it complicated? I'm just gonna call it the monthly sneaker resale update. Also wanted to say shout out to all of you guys because in the last video, you guys really smashed the like button. There was almost 2,000 likes on that video, which is the most likes I've ever gotten in the video, so really appreciate it. And also thank you lately for all the support, all the comments, all the feedback, all the DMs I get on Instagram. You guys really make me feel super appreciated, so I really thank you guys for that. And yeah, I'm gonna keep the content coming for sure. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the resale performance of recent releases. I'm also gonna cover a topic that I feel doesn't get talked about enough, and that is when is the right time to hold sneakers. And as always, I will be giving you guys some actual examples of sneakers that are good to invest in right now, so make sure you stick around until the end of the video. So first, I feel like it's really important to talk about a broader economic update. I read a report recently that I thought was super interesting, and that was that Americans are currently saving more than they've had since basically the 1980s. And on top of that, I'm sure you guys have already heard about the crazy unemployment numbers now in America, and that right now, the latest numbers were around 38 million. So we're talking about like almost 15% unemployment in the country right now. And the reason why I like to talk about these topics when talking about sneakers is because I feel like a lot of these other sneaker resale channels that give advice on sneakers and what to hold, what to keep, I feel like a lot of these channels are very narrow-minded and they kind of just focus on individual sneakers and look at supply and demand. But guys, it's not always that simple, and I feel like when I invest in sneakers, for me, I always think of it as like an investment. So I use my investor brain. Sneakers is not the only thing I invest in. I invest in a ton of other stuff. I own properties, cryptocurrency, stocks, and I use the same mindset when I'm investing in sneakers. These two things I just mentioned, which is that people are saving more than ever, and the fact that there's a huge unemployment number now in America. If you think that these things are not gonna have an effect on sneaker resale, then I'm sorry, you are misinformed. It's not as simple as looking at individual sneakers and seeing what is in demand and what's not, because sometimes these broader economic forces affect pretty much every single investment. So if you look at what's going on in the overall economy right now, I don't think people are worried too much about what sneakers they should wear outside. A lot of people like to talk about a summer effect. So like we're going outside, it's getting hotter, we want to wear the nicest kicks. People spend more on sneakers during this time. Well, if you haven't noticed already, 2020 summer is not going to be like any other summer you've had in your life. It very well could be just a stay-at-home type of summer, which is unfortunate, but that's the world we live in right now. So for that reason also, I just don't see sneaker prices increasing too much this summer compared to how it normally does over the summer. But enough about all that, let's talk about some recent releases. A lot of people want to know about this shoe right here, the Air Jordan 1 Royal Toe. When I did my review for this sneaker, I said in that video that this shoe was a sell now to me, unless you wanted to hold it for a long time. So back when this shoe released and back around when I did the video, it was around May the 9th. I said that this shoe was a sell now at the time. And you can see around then the prices were approximately 300, and now it's dropped to around 260, 265, 270. And from what I see, there is a lot of people trying to sell this shoe, and there's also a lot of bids on the shoe. So what I think is that the prices for this sneaker is gonna stay kind of in this range for a pretty long time. It will, of course, eventually go up like most sneakers do. However, I don't think that that time period is gonna be short. It's gonna take a long time for this sneaker to hit the prices that a lot of people think it will hit, like 350, 400. If you look at how the Jordan 1 Royal performed, so that came out in 2017, that sneaker took almost 3 years to hit $400. It just hit it this year. So if you don't mind the long hold, then yeah, feel free to hold on to it. But me personally, I would probably rather keep my money in other investments right now. The same goes for this pair, the Jordan 1 Court Purple 2.0. I actually think this is a super dope shoe. But once again, I see a lot of supply, I see a lot of demand for the shoe as well, but that tells me that we're gonna stay in this range for quite a long time. And I also don't think that this sneaker will hit 400 by the end of the year. So once again, if you wanna hold on to it, you don't mind waiting like more than a year to get your money back, then go ahead, by all means. For me, a year is a pretty long time, but it depends on your own situation. Also wanted to talk about this sneaker. This is the Nike Dunk Low in the Brazil colorway. Now this one, guys, when I did my review, I did say that I thought prices in these would come down because of how this sneaker is not very wearable. And I'm gonna say it right now, I was completely wrong about this one. I really didn't expect it to perform the way it did. I expected prices to crash after people started getting their pairs from Nike, but it doesn't look like that's happening, and that's because I really underestimated how limited this sneaker was. Nobody I know got a W in these, and just from all the action I've seen online, it doesn't look like a lot of people got W's on this sneaker, so it was a very limited sneaker. And for that reason, I actually think prices in these are on the way up. I'm not so sure if it's gonna hit the prices of the Kentuckys and the Syracuse anytime soon, but I definitely do think that they're not gonna go down from here. They're only gonna go up. Last one I want to talk about, it is the sneaker of the moment. I just did a review on them, and that is the Ben & Jerry's SB Dunk Low. A lot of you guys wanted to ask me if this was a good investment or not. The numbers are scary, to be honest. Like, most sizes we're looking at almost $2,000, which is nuts for a sneaker. That being said, I don't think these prices are gonna go down. I'm just gonna be honest, man. I really don't see these prices going down. This was an ultra limited sneaker, and like I said in my review of these shoes, this is gonna go down as one of those shoes. One of those shoes we will talk about like 10 years from now as one of the best SB Dunks to come out. It's an absolutely iconic collab between two really reputable brands. And I thought the execution on them was absolutely crazy, and they did an amazing job. And I don't think that the prices on these are gonna come down. So yeah, is this a good investment? To me, yeah, it is, even at $2,000. So that brings me to topic number 2, and that is whether or not you should hold sneakers. And to me, answering this question has nothing to do with looking at individual sneakers itself. If you're someone who's new to sneaker reselling and you're actually serious about it, you want to make some money doing this, then the question you should be asking yourself is, how fast do you want to make money reselling sneakers? Because when you decide to hold on to sneakers, now that is money that you cannot invest in other sneakers. And that is something that I don't think gets talked about enough, and this is actually called opportunity costs. When you invest in something, that takes away your opportunity to invest in something else. Let's say you just saved up some money, you want to invest in sneakers, you know, like something like $3,000, $4,000. My goal initially would be like, let's get this $3,000 to $10,000 as fast as possible. So when you're in this stage, just starting out, I really personally wouldn't hold on to sneakers. Because let's say I have something like only $3,000 to invest in sneakers, and I decide to put 1,000 of it, for example, in a bunch of court purples. Now that's already 30% of all the money I have to invest in sneakers. Now I only have another 2,000 left to invest in future releases. But let's say I just resold all of them really quickly and just made a small profit, like $40, $50 per pair even. Now my $3,000 is already like $3,300. And so on and so forth. In the beginning, my goal would be, let's get this 3,000 to 10,000 as fast as possible. Because the truth is, guys, you need money to make money. I just talked about the Ben & Jerry's. I do think that that's a really great investment, but not if you only have like $3,000 to invest in sneakers. Because if you put 2,000 right now in a pair of Ben & Jerry's, you only have 8,000 left over to invest in all the other sneakers coming out this year. So that is why, guys, get your capital, and your capital is basically all the amount of money you have to invest. Increase your capital as much as possible, because then you can start speculating. Then you can say, let's say you have like now 10,000, then it's not a big deal if you say, you know what, I'm gonna buy a pair of Ben & Jerry's. I'm gonna put 2,000 in a pair of Ben & Jerry's. I still have 8,000 left over to invest in a lot of other sneakers. So that 2,000 is not so important to me right now. I can hold on to it. I can wait to watch it grow a little bit. But if you just have a small amount of money to invest in, then 2,000 is just too much right now. So that's why my advice is, in the beginning, I would quick sell as much as possible. And once I've raised enough capital, then I'll start holding on to sneakers. By the way, very quickly, if you found this content useful, make sure you smash that like button. That really tells me whether I should continue to make videos just like this. And of course, subscribe for more. I am dropping content every single week, guys, so make sure you're subscribed. For the last part of the video, of course, I'm going to talk about sneakers that you should invest in right now. But first, let me move into my brand new chair. Yeah, I copped the Supreme lawn chair. I don't even have a lawn in my apartment, but who cares? You only live once. I'm putting my Supreme chair in my living room. So let's get into sneakers that I think look like good investments right now. And I'll be honest guys, it took me quite a long time to make this list because right now I really don't think there are too many sneakers that are good investments. And I just think that especially in this kind of environment right now, it's really important to invest in like these safe sneakers. And for me right now, safe means, is the hype always gonna be there and are these sneakers wearable? So the first one I'm gonna talk about, and I already talked about this one in my last video, and that is the Stussy Air Spiridon 2. This one, if you guys remember, was my #1 hold when I talked about it in my last video. I personally went out and bought 4 pairs of these when the prices were just around $250, $260. If you look at the prices right now, yeah, I told you so. I mean, the prices now are all around $400 in most sizes. And like I said in that video, it was a really obvious investment to make. The demand was off the charts for that shoe, and it was a super limited sneaker. And even right now at these prices, I still think that this is a pretty decent investment. I wouldn't personally go and buy this off StockX. I would look at, Facebook groups, look in your local community, see people who are selling it for like slightly lower than StockX prices because they don't want to pay those StockX fees, and buy it there. So I think any size you can get below $400 is a pretty decent, pretty safe investment right now. And I'm talking specifically about this Fossil colorway. This is the colorway that everyone wanted, and it's a pretty iconic collab. We're talking about Stussy and Nike. I do think the hype is definitely gonna be there on this pair. The next one on my list is the Supreme Air Force Ones, a very basic looking shoe, but guys, the hype will always be there for this pair. People love white Air Force Ones. The black ones too are not too bad of an investment. People love these basic looking sneakers, and you just add the little bit of hype there with the box logo. You got yourself a winner. I think this sneaker, there will always be hype on it, not just this year, even next year. And even though this sneaker has restocked a lot, the demand for the sneaker is far more than the supply. A pretty safe investment to make. I don't think there's any way you'll actually lose money if you buy a pair right now. And finally, the last sneaker that I think is a good investment right now, we've already talked about it in this video, and I know it's a lot of money, but it is the Ben & Jerry's SB Dunk Low. I know prices are around $2,000 right now, but like I said, if you don't need the $2,000 for another year, this is a pretty good sneaker to invest in. If you look at some of the most iconic dunks ever, I'm talking about like, for example, the Stussy dunks, also the Paris Dunk Lows. You've seen the prices on those, like those are just insane. And I do think when it's all said and done, I'm talking like 4 or 5 years from now, like we're gonna look back at this Ben & Jerry dunk as one of the most iconic dunks to come out. So like I said, if you don't need the $2,000 right now, this is definitely a great sneaker to invest in. I know some other sneaker channels are predicting that the prices on these will come down, and I'm gonna go ahead and say I actually think they're wrong. I think that the prices on these are not coming down. There's just way too much demand for the sneaker, and the demand will always be there. I don't see an ultra limited, super hype sneaker like this come down in price anytime soon. So for me, this one is a pretty safe investment as well, even though I know it's a lot of money. And that's pretty much it for all the sneakers that I think you should be investing in right now. Like I said, I don't want to give you guys bad advice, and I don't think that there's a lot of safe investments out there right now. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, especially if you made it up until this point. If you did, give me a what up JD down in the comments. I really appreciate you guys. And as always, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram anytime. The handle is right here. It is at JDKick6. That is the easiest place to contact me. I'm sure you guys already know that. And until next time, guys, peace.